strategy order alert message, you have to get that. So you can just copy that from one that you already have. Just copy this and put it there. And then on the second page, the only thing that's really necessary here is a webhook. If you want an alert sound, if you want to be notified, you can do these toast also. But and for right now, you're not going to know what the webhook is. It's just going to keep the last one that you used, which is the last one that I used, is there, but that'll be replaced when you start. So that's all you need to do in TradingView. You're pretty much finished there, except we're going to put the correct webhook in there when we're done over here on TradersPost. So the first thing that you do on TradersPost is you add an account. So you click there on TradeObate. That's what you're going to use. It's probably asking me to log in again. Let's see. I think this is the account. No, let's see. You guys can hear me, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while
Okay.
Steve's figuring this out, basically, so
Oh,
yeah, you're good.
yeah. Okay. So then you'll get here. So once you're logged in, now I wasn't logged. It logged me out. So what I did, if you want, I can go back, show you that again. Just clicked on your broker, which in I think most people's cases here is going to be TradeObate. Click I agree. And then it's going to ask you to log into your TradeObate account. So I'm just going to log into my top step. Let's see. And then you're going to be back at TradersPost. And here you can choose your account, whatever account you want to use. Again, you can name it, and you're going to, I do so many of these that I really have to put a lot of detail in my names, but you can put what you want. I usually want to put like, okay, it's Top Step, it's a 50K account. You can put what you're sending to it. Not necessary though. And of course, the account number. I usually put like the last 4 digits of the account number somewhere in there. And then this max strategy positions, this is not your contract size, of course. This is just if you're sending more than one trade at a time. For example, I have some accounts where I trade MNQ on one strategy and then NQ on another strategy. So it can hit the account at the same exact time. So in that case, you'd want to raise that to 2. Otherwise, 1. Once you save that, that's going to stay there. And then you're going to come up here. It's going to say you need a strategy. So you're going to create a strategy. This is where you hook TradingView with TradersPost. So in this strategy, again, give it a name that's going to be something for you to, keep things organized. Description not necessary. Of course, futures, tickers, you can just leave all. If you want to make sure that you don't send anything you don't want to send, you can put, your actual ticker there. But I usually just put allow any ticker. Notifications I don't normally use, but you can turn that on just to send you like emails or whatever you have set up to, emails. And security I also don't use, but you can limit it to TradingView so that only a webhook coming from TradingView will be valid. I don't do that. Optional details also not important, just information. So once you do that, let's see, back to strategies. I didn't actually, yeah, let's create a new strategy then. So new strategy, futures, that I'm leaving alone. You save that. And now you have this one here was something that was, I think they put there. So this is the one I created. So now the last thing that you do is you create a subscription. That's where you subscribe to a strategy. So new subscription, you're going to select that strategy that you just created. And you're going to select which broker you're going to want it trading to. And then you just confirm this and basically you're done. At this point, you're done. Now you can see this strategy, this subscription, sorry. Again, the name here comes from the broker name and the strategy name. It kind of concocts those two together. So, but you can put whatever you want there. You always want it to be auto submit. You always want it to be bullish and bearish. You always, if you're entering with limit orders, leave this to limit. If you're entering with market orders, like I showed on the indicator earlier, then you wanted that to be a market entry, and your exit should always be market. So go here always, change this to market, and then come down. And I set my retry to 3 times, just in case there's some communication problems. It'll try to submit the order 3 times. Then you can enable it. It's going to ask you, the first time you do this, it's going to ask you to do this. Yeah. And then save. Now you get your webhook right here. You can get it from here, or you can go to webhooks and also get it there. I'll show you where that is. And then you come over here and you put that in here. And now when this webhook fires from this alert, it's going to come here. It's going to trigger this subscription, which is connected to that strategy, which is connected to such and such broker. And then this will come over here now in a minute.
Hey Steve, can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Is this available for a Ninja Trader as well, or is it just TradeView?
We're working on it.
Okay,
Yeah, he started working on it about a month ago. It's quite a bit of work because the strategy itself has a lot to it.
gotcha.
I don't know, and we kind of put it on hold to get this out, but I think he's still working on it.
Okay,
I'll ask him.
okay, thank you.
I would prefer to run it on Ninja Trader, to be honest.
Yeah, okay.
But this this is working for now. So you have that. If you want to look back at what you did, you can click strategies here. You see the only strategy you have. Again, these names are not the best names to use. Your subscription is here. It shows you that it's enabled, that it's an auto submit, which always should be. And you can see your webhook here if you need to come back. After that, you don't need to create webhook again. You don't need to, this is, if you want to change things, you can still change things, but use the same webhook. So if you were to go here and change some settings one day because you want a, smaller stop loss or something like that, when you do that, of course, you have to create your alert again. Anytime you change anything here, this is disconnected from your alert. The alert I created, I don't know if it showed up. Let's see. Oh, no, maybe I didn't save it. So anytime you make any changes here, save that, of course, and then come back and make your alert again. And again, that's going to be, name it here. This part here is going to be the strategy order alert message. So you're not going to use that. And then over here is always going to be your webhook. So you come get this webhook from here again, or wherever you have it saved, and you put it there. You never need to create this webhook again here, or any of this over here. And that's pretty much how to get one running. If you do other tests or you want this to go to other accounts, if you do need it to go to other accounts, all you have to do is create more brokers. Go back. Let me delete this one. So you would just do another connection here, TradeOvate, log in, go through that whole thing. You're going to have another broker is going to show up. When you finish doing that, you're going to have under paper brokers, you're going to have more than one. And what else?
Hey Steve, you just push connect to live instead of connect to paper. Does that make a difference when it comes to prop firms?
No, I haven't seen that it's made any difference at all. No,
Okay.
that's what I use. Try it out.
Yep.
So if you wanted to send to multiple accounts, that's what you would do is you would just create another subscription, even if it was just like this one, because you can't have one subscription going to multiple brokers, as far as I know. So you would create a new subscription, you'd select a strategy, and again, you could have more than one strategy. If you create, like you can see over here, I've got many alerts because I've got, different trailing offsets that I'm testing, because some things you can't really back test in TradingView or anywhere. So you have to just put the setting on an account and track it that way in real time.
Yep.
So you could have multiple strategies here that would be named like my strategies are almost named similar to this, so I know what they go with. But you select your strategy, select your other broker that you would have created prior to this, and now you have one strategy going to two different accounts, or you can have two strategies going to two accounts, whatever you want. I have like probably 30 in mine. So it's it's it works pretty well.
This works with with Replicanto as well.
Yeah, Replicanto I don't have open right now, but I use Ninja Mobile Trader because I don't use a PC.
Okay.
So my Replicanto is running on their VPS,
Okay.
and works great. What I do is I have in my, this is not my TradersPost. This is one I just created for this, but in my TradersPost, I have the leader account like marked just to keep it, keep it from getting confusing, because my Top Step accounts, I send the order direct from TradersPost.
Yep.
Because Top Step accounts that I have, they don't work with Replicanto. I know that Top Step has Rhythmic accounts, and I do use that sometimes in Replicanto, but I tend to use the TradeOvate. That way, if I want a manual trade on it, I can easily do that because I'm used to TradeOvate.
Gotcha.
So, but with Replicanto, I just make whatever strategy that I'm sending to TradersPost, I just put a big capital letters on their leader account. So I know that that's in a leader account, and that'll be picked up in Replicanto to go to, a bunch of other Apex accounts, for example, that are not even in TradersPost. So there's a lot of flexibility this way. Any questions? I guess I can't see the Discord. And is there anything else you want to see or any questions?
I think the main thing is people want to know like the strategy of the bot itself, not anything like with
Oh, okay.
connections or anything. Just go over like when does it take a trade?
Ah,
Why did it take a trade?
sure. Well, let's just look back at some trades. For example, let's see what I'm on here. At this one here. Let me look at the last one of the day. So obviously it's looking for a fair value gap. This is what it's based off of. And the settings that are going to determine that is, for example, this here will allow you, if you put a positive value here, then it will enter you 1 point outside of the fair value gap. Instead of right on the fair value gap, it's going to enter you, 1 point outside. I think it's still updating that. I don't know why that doesn't show there, but that's what that's for. So if you put a -1 there, it's gonna your limit order is going to be set inside the fair value gap by 1 point, and you can go by ticks too. And if your stop loss, because this is set to make the stop loss to be the pivot point, okay, plus 2.25 points. So it's going to take the previous pivot point and it's going to add 2.25 points to it. And that's what the stop loss is going to be. It's not going to be what you see here. What you see here is this 18-point fixed stop loss, which I'll talk about later. But the stop loss, as long as it's less than this, the stop loss will be in the pivot. This just caps it at 18 points. But otherwise, if the pivot was like 5 points away, then your stop loss would be 7.25 with these settings. So what this setting does here is if your pivot is so far away in points that it was more than say 45 points, meaning you could potentially have a 45-point stop loss, even though in this situation you wouldn't because it would be capped at 18. If I didn't have this here, I had this at 50 or something like this, it would cancel this trade. So it's just canceling trades. It would just have a huge stop loss, when you use this setting here. And all these settings have been tested. These aren't just, come up with random settings. And as far as take profit, this is also ignored, even though you see this here, this is your take profit here is set to this 25 points. It's not really being used because we're using trailing points. So in this case, what happens is when your trade gets 13 points in profit, as soon as it's 13 points in profit, it's going to trail it by 3 points. And this is something that's hard, not really possible to test in TradingView. You get fairly close to real world results on this setting here, but because they don't really have the information, like once this 1 minute candle is printed, they don't know how the price moved around inside of this candle. They just know the open, close, low, and high. So the back testing doesn't really have this sub-minute data. So you're not going to really get super accurate back testing results. In fact, if you just lower this number, your results will get better and better and better because the price is moving linearly through the candle in the back testing, which is not going to happen in real world. This is why I do these different tests to test actual trailing offsets. And then when you get to the conditions, this is a minimum number of bars that the fair value gap must be created after the pivot has been swept. So you don't want a fair value gap that's created so far away from when the pivot was swept, because it's probably not valid anymore. Again, that was just tested, and the best value to come up with for that was 0. It didn't really make any difference in these settings. That's for the minimum bars. The maximum bars was 40, tested out the best, so that's what we're using. Minimum number of bars passed after it was to be considered. Same thing. That's how many bars have passed before it's created. So 25 was best. And then the vertical distance is how far down or up on long is the fair value gap considered still valid. So if it's created really far down, it doesn't really have much to do with this sweep anymore. So it's not a good entry anymore. So we have this set to 15. This setting here is what really saved us this week where things really got volatile. because if anybody's familiar with Ryan's inverted fair value gap, he usually does not enter a trade if the target has been hit prior to the entry being retraced back to. So similar thing here, if this take profit, and this is where this value is used, even though we're trailing and we're not really getting out of the trade at 25 points, this setting here is working in conjunction with this. So what we're saying is on very volatile days where price will make a fair value gap, but then just run like crazy, 25 points. Well, if it comes back, we know it's could have a reaction, but the chances are probably less than if it got a reaction initially. So having this turned on would cancel those trades. They would look like they're entered, but then they would never be entered. The limit order would be canceled. This is a similar setting, though I didn't find that it really made the results any better, but that's to flatten it if the opposite pivot is in swept. So I think that's obvious. If you're coming down here and you made your fair value gap, and let's say that you consider this your opposite pivot. If that's already been swept before it's had a chance to come back to entry, then you cancel the order. So similar to the other setting. And also you can flatten everything if 60 bars, in this case 60 minutes, since we're on the minute, have passed. In other words, just really it's really not in play anymore. You know, it's too much time has passed. So in that case, it will flatten the order. Here you have your session times. So when the bot is active, in my case, 9:35 to 16, those were the hours I found the best with these settings. And then you have skip times, which are good for when you have news come out. Like you don't want to be in a trade if there's some high impact news coming out 8:30. So if that happens, if you are in a trade and 8:29 comes up, it'll just flatten your trade, and it won't open another trade until after this block time. So we have this for 4 or 5 times here. Bonds you can put in here, you know, the 2 p.m. time if you want to protect against the bond auctions. And these here are what's considered a valid pivot point. So in this case, you need 7 bars on the left and 7 bars on the right to consider that an actual pivot, you know, versus just like an intermediate high or low. And this here is how much the SWIP is taken. For example, this yellow line, this indicates a valid pivot point with these settings. So when it's coming up to a yellow line, what you're waiting for is to pass all these rules I just talked about, come down and make a fair value gap, which it finally did here. Okay, this fair value gap here is within the sweep. You know, it's inside the sweep here, and it fits all the rules. It got in the trade, and it was $320 profit. So in this case, the pivot point doesn't need to be swept more than one tick. So we consider it valid, even if it just comes up here and just breaks it by one tick. With these settings, that would be considered valid. And the pivot points that we use are on a different time frame always. You always get better results. For example, we're trading on the 1 minute, but the pivot points we're looking for are on the 3 minute chart. So you're looking at 3 minutes that have these fit these rules: 7 bars to the left, 7 bars to the right. Just needs to take it by one tick, and that's fine. And then the fair value gap threshold in points is the size of the fair value gap. So we found surprisingly, I mean, if you're manually trading these type of setups, we normally wouldn't consider a valid 2022 model that had a gap size of a tick, right? I mean, I wouldn't, but it tested out. You know, it's surprising sometimes what gives you the better results. So in this case, a one tick fair value gap is fine. And this here, and I don't really use this much. I asked for this to be put in, but honestly, I never really used it. Maybe some others can play around with it. But basically, you can enter in. Sometimes you have a really big fair value gap. This is not really a really big one. Um, well, it's a pretty decent size, 20 points. But sometimes you don't want to enter right here because your stop loss is going to be huge. So maybe you want to put it at the 50%, for example. So you can use this setting to do this, and then you would enter it at 50%. And that's if the fair value gap is greater than this many. I think these are in points. The points are ticks. Yeah, in points. So that's why it's set to 100. It's basically not being used at all. So if you get a really big fair value gap, you can have your entry position inside the fair value gap at whatever position you want to try to minimize your stop loss. And this here is if the fair value gap is created within the range, and this is considered within the range. It just has to be some of it has to be inside of this pivot, which is defined by this yellow line that's on the 3 minute time frame. And then if you want it fully in the range, which would make this one not valid because some of this is outside, some of it's inside, then you can check this. Some settings, this will give you better results. And in my case, I didn't find, and that was it. And then down here, you just have these alert messages, which are what's sent to TradersPost or a long alert or a short alert or to close a trade. That's where you have your asset. If you're sending market orders, you want to delete this line here and delete this line here, and that's it. And here's one of the trades. That's that trade. Here's the entry. Made the fair value gap. It limit ordered in here. It trailed the price and it exited here, and it was 320 profit. So I think that pretty much explains it all. But if there's anything I missed, let me know.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. So basically, it's just so to go with the bot, you need Traders Post, which is
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
$50. Yeah, that's $50 a month. But I know a lot of people just connect a new. You get a 7 day trial with it. So a
Yeah.
lot of people just make a new email every week and they just don't pay it. I mean, it's up
Sure.
to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up to you what you want to do. But essentially, so it's the indicator, the strategy on TradingView talks to the alert, and then that alert webhook is what connects it to Traders Post. Traders Post then sends it
Yeah.
to a TradeAway. That's how
Yeah.
the whole thing works.
Yeah, once you have this alert made, then you can delete this. You can delete the chart, you can delete the indicator. You don't need anything. Of course, I don't do that because I want to monitor the trades and I want to see when they enter them. I don't change these settings once I create an alert. So they in my case, they always represent that. But if I did change something here and save this, some people in the beginning thought that that would change their alert, and it doesn't. So
Mm,
these alerts are server side on TradingView's side, so you don't need to have your computer on or anything. Of course, these things I have these trading at night when I'm sleeping in Asia, so you don't
Yep.
need anything running at all.
Yep. Uh, Steve, there's a question. Can you show some P&L curves for the consistency that you've been seeing?
Hmm. Yeah, I can show. Let's see here. I mean, I can show I do back testing and I also do forward testing because I keep all the trades like you've seen me post in the group. But if
Yep.
you see here, um, like for this data range here, I would do like from July 1st, so we can see that. Close this up here. Yeah, so that's what we're looking at, like 80% accuracy, 7,600, and there's exactly 30 CME trading days within this time frame. So if you're looking at a daily average, you're looking at 30 days, you're looking at $255 per day, which is about what we've been seeing. Anywhere from 150 to 400 a day is what we've been getting.
Yep.
And the average is about 255, which for a 50K account with one mini is perfect because with Apex, if you get 200 a day, 10 days you got to do, and that's 2,000. Well, that's a limit you can get anyway for the first 90 days. Anything you get above that on a good week is just going to help you out on a week, or eventually it's going to accumulate because this is making more than 200 a day anyway. So that extra balance is going to accumulate, which is just going to make it safer. And at the end of the 90 days, it's going to give you a lump sum that you can withdraw out. I mean, it should grow pretty nice. And you can run more than one strategy. Like what I do is I have a different bot that I run during the night, more of a scalping bot, takes a lot of trades, and I run it on the same account. So because it's doesn't conflict the times. This strategy that I'm showing here starts at 9:35 and ends at 4 o'clock or 10 minutes before, I think. So during the other times, you can either run a different strategy if you find something that works good on Asia or London, you can run it on the same account and even add more to it, or you could, if you want to run it at the exact same time, I have a 5 minute setting that I run on micros right here. It's very few trades, but the accuracy rate's like 90%. So they're almost always winners, but sometimes you get like one trade a week. But anyway, it helps, you can see the results I got on that one is here. So 4,700. And the first trade was, in this case, was April 24th. So almost don't consider April. You're looking at May and June and July. So basically 3 months, almost 5,000. It's not a lot, but you're adding that to something that you're already doing. And look at the accuracy rate, 95%, 14 profit factor. So it's a very restrictive setting, and it's on the 5 minutes, so you're not going to get a lot of trades, but every bit helps. You're adding, in a few months, you're adding 5,000. Not
Yep.
bad. And you could do this with others at the same time. You could, if you found some settings with ES. But for me, I don't really try to put too much on an account if I can't do it safely. For me, the minimum's 200 because I want to at least get the 2K out on payout. But anything above that, if it makes it risky and causes you to possibly blow the account, it's not really worth it. It's so much better just to buy another account and just run the same thing on the other
Yep.
account. If
Yep.
you want to double your income, get 2 counts. Want to triple it, get 3 counts. It's cheap. You pay for the account in one day.
Yep.
You know, if you can pass it, and also you can, if you want to pass them quicker, you can use two minis on them. It's a little bit more risky, but you can pass an account with two minis, and then once it's funded, put it back on one mini. But you basically pay for that with 1 day's, 2 days of earnings. So better have more accounts, in my opinion.
Yep. So I'm assuming a big question is, has it ever blown in an account since you've started this?
No, not with these settings.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
I've blown accounts in testing for sure, many,
Yeah.
because some things you can
But
only forward test.
yep.
But
But with these
no,
current
with these
settings,
settings,
no. Okay.
yeah, no, 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 never. And you can look back at the trades even in the back testing. You can see like here how many losing trades in a row. You know,
Yep.
I don't think there's ever been two losing trades in a row. And a lot of times you have a string of winners like this. I
Yeah.
mean, look at this period here was July 9th to July 15th. Was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 winners in a row. So even though you have a loss here and there, you can see in the curve,
Yep.
it's pretty much directly up. And if you know.
Yeah, I could say I've been like using the bot on an eval account the last 2 weeks. I think last week. I'm not sure about this week. I haven't actually got to this week's data. I'm not sure if you have that data, Steve. But uh, last week
Yeah.
was 600 for me, and then the prior week that with of the prior week. So 2 weeks ago would have been. I think
Yeah.
it was like $1,000 for me. So
Yeah, it was like 1,000.
and that was on one mini.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I have I keep the stats. I put them in the group every day. Um, these are the 1 minutes here. Yeah. So last week was 995. This week was 560. And more or less, because again, TradingView, the way that they do the trailing is not exactly like it happens
yeah.
in actual trading and forward testing, but it's close. It's about the same.
So yeah.
This was Yeah, Friday I got about that amount. I got a little less than that, I think. I think I got 600 on my actual accounts.
Yeah.
But 1,000 a week is the goal, and it's been doing that. We had one week where it did -60, but we had some weeks where it did almost 3,000.
Yep.
You know,
So that's the good
the
thing
way.
is you guys are offering a free trial, so people can actually try this themselves and then determine if they actually want to continue with it or
Sure.
not. So I like that you guys are
Yeah,
doing that too.
and if you have any specific issues or you had any specific troubles, you can always contact me, and I can add some days onto it if that's necessary.
Hmm.
We know that once that you've been using it enough time, it pays for itself. I mean, this is $50 for Traders Post if you decide to subscribe to that, or if you just want to keep creating new emails, and then 199 for this. That's 1 days of profit, and you've got 20 trading days in a month. So it's really
Yep.
it's hard to lose.
Yeah.
So
So Pratik, if that's your name, sorry. He said, can't you drop down to the 5 second time frame? The problem with that I can
you
see is you just can't go back far, very very far. On TradingView
well, we have
only.
yeah, I can go back pretty far. I paid for extended data, so I have a lot of
Okay.
5 second data. The problem with 5 second is you get a lot of trades,
Well, I think he
depending on
means
the
like
problem.
sorry, Steve. He means like the 5 second time frame to see how well the trail works, is what he's asking.
Not sure exactly what he means.
So he's saying like, could you go down to the 5 second time frame to test like if the trail would have been hit at a certain point, so that way you're getting a little more accurate data. But I don't think that would work.
No, not really, because as
Yeah.
soon as you switch the chart to the 5 second, all your settings are going to be related to 5 second. For example, if you're looking at any of these settings that refer to bars, like how many bars pass and a trade's close, will all be 5 second bars.
Yep.
So these settings aren't valid at
Yep.
all for anything except 1 minute. If I go to 30 second, for example, I mean, look at these results here. Okay, you got 75%, you got 5,700 profit. Now, if I switch this to 30 second, you might get some good results, but normally the results will get worse because they were not tuned for that.
Yep.
So you have half the profit, your percentages went down, your drawdown, I think, went up. So it's not really, and the same thing if you were to go to 2 minutes. And generally, it's true that as you go up in time frame, you get less and less trades,
Yep.
So, here you're also going down when you go up to that. Maybe the drawdown's less. It's not bad. This might be usable, but I would further tune this. I wouldn't just use this like that. I wouldn't just switch time frame.
Yep.
Time frame is the thing I determine first, and then from there I adjust everything here. You know, I do trade on the 15, the 10 second. I do have a bot that works on the 10 second. It's does like 200 trades a day. So it's workable to do that. You
Yep.
definitely can come up with settings for that.
Yep. Uh,
And it can be very profitable too, because you got a lot of movements on 10 seconds.
yep. Yep. Jared, yeah, I was the same way. Like I've been burned by a lot of back tested bots too. But the thing is, Steve has been forward testing this since May.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So
look, this is what
he,
this particular settings I have back tested. These are back tested results here because I just started using these settings. They say version 1, but these are like version 10. You
yep.
just don't see the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
But this is when things started really getting solid. This was some settings that I came up with that I really like the back test. And you can see we've been doing better than the back test because if you look at the win rates here, right? I don't know if you can see this. Can you see my
Yep.
spreadsheet,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Okay, good. If you see the backtest results, you got some 60s, some 70s. You do have some 80s in here, or did really good 70s. But then when I actually started using it, these are the results these are the forward test results starting on July 15. And it's been doing very well. And even the win rate is trending up. You see this yellow line here, which is a really good sign because, the past doesn't always predict the future, we know, but it can help. It definitely is, something you have to look at. And really, the only thing you can look at. You can't just, come up with these settings here, for example, just logically. Like even if you're a good 2022 model trader and you try to put your brain in here, well, maybe somebody will do that and be able to come up with good results. But I didn't take that approach at all. I tested all values possible. I use an optimizer that flips through these values. It takes hours, but I have my process for tuning,
Yep.
and that I've modified over the past 6 months, and I've come up with a way where I can tune pretty quickly. One day, 2 days maximum, I can get some really good results if it's possible. Because there's
Yep.
some things you try to do that you just can't get good results. Like I've tried to get some settings on ES, and I would give up after some time. I just couldn't zero in on anything that was usable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I will continue to forward test this. As long as this continues working, I will keep adding the days on it. I will keep posting them. I do have some other ideas that I play with true, like this here is version 3, which is about double the profit. If you test the same range of dates, you will get double the profit with version 3. But somebody's got a live mic on. And you get double profits with these settings that I have, which I have over here, but it's a little more risky. It's just starting out here. I didn't put the back test results in like I usually do, but this is all forward testing, and it's doing pretty good. Not bad. It's still getting off the ground, and I'm not really using it on any accounts, but it was interesting enough for me to monitor and test because really you need like at least a month before you can really see if something is going to perform well. So I have that. I also have 5 minute that it's taken very few trades. Hasn't taken any forward testing trades yet, but it has really, I like the back test results to put it on an account to try it. So that's that.
So I'm just trying to look. So there's a couple questions. Would this be sufficient for a live account, like how I trade a $400 live account and just trade like one MNQ? I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, I have this on many live accounts. I have this trading on like 35 accounts that are funded accounts, and Top Step, and I use one mini with this strategy. One mini with a $2,000 drawdown is fine. And with Apex, you got 2,500 and you have live drawdown, but it doesn't have a problem with live drawdown because you get one loss. There's never been two losses in a row so far. I haven't seen it. Not that you can't get it, it can happen. But even two losses is not a problem. Even three or four, it's not going to kill it. Of course, I would start to be monitoring it closer if I saw even two losses in a row. Maybe the day was really weird. Maybe I would pause the bot. I haven't done that yet, but I would consider it. If I started seeing some strange losses, or it's in a really strong sell day and it's trying to take longs,
Yep.
that type of thing.
Uh,
But
you're Juriel, can you trade this less than a mini? Absolutely. You could take this down to MNQ if you want. Yep.
yeah, absolutely. What you can do, if you just take my settings and you stick them on IlmInQ 2024, I don't think they're going to look good. I can try it here, um, but you don't have to do it that way. So, but just curious, see what they would come out. This is from July 1st to Friday. Because as we know, IlmInQ has, different volumes. So you're going to get some more wickiness, different gaps. Let's see. I don't know why it's not even showing there. Let me just do regular. Yeah, regular. You can see the comparison. Here's $463, and this is for this trades would be going back to July 22nd. So you're looking at July 22nd, $450 if you were to run this on micros. And if you run it on minis, you'll see the difference, quite a big difference once it changes. But there's a way to do it where this doesn't matter, where you can still get, see 5,700, huge difference, right? So what you would do if you wanted to send this on IlmInQ, you would just come here, you would change this to IlmInQU 2024, same here. You would put your quantity that you're going to trade, like say you want to trade 5 micros, you're going to put 5 there. And of course, you're going to put it on the shorts also, right? And you're going to change this to IlmInQ. And here. And now you're trading 5 micros, even though you're using the price action of the mini chart, which will be fine. In other words, this is going to be the driver. The mini chart's going to be the driver, but the trades are going to actually be placed on the micro contract. Understand? Still there?
Yep, I'm right here.
It's so quiet here. Sometimes I think
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
talking for hours.
I am babysitting our 19-month-old today, so I'm in and out of
Oh,
mics
okay.
to try to keep well in between
Yeah,
him
I get it.
screaming. So
Yeah,
the next one
been there.
is have you got a payout using just the bot?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
You get it's making like you can see from here, it's making like 200 a day. And with Apex, for example, you're looking at 10 days is perfect. 10 days, you've got 2,000. If you want to pass an eval faster, you can try with 2 minis and you can pass it in like 15 days.
Yep.
On average thing. So yeah, you can get a payout on it. And Apex doesn't have any problem. Apex doesn't really have problems with bots as long as they're not high speed bots. If
Yep.
they're indicators, because somebody could just buy this indicator, for example, and not use TradersPost at all and just manually enter the trades, even, discretionary trade. They could just say, oh no, I don't like this one. We're at a very, very sell driven day and it's trying to take this long. I think it's going to fail. I would never take this trade. So you would just not enter it. So, and everybody uses indicators, for one thing or another. So you can't ban that sort of thing. What they're banning is high speed trading bots,
Yeah. Yeah.
bots that are working on sub 1 minute time frame and are doing like 200 something trades a day. And I do that on Apex. I do that on Apex evals. I've never heard anything from them.
Mm-hmm.
I do 200 trades a day.
Yep. And our
So,
Jared was asking how you have 30 accounts. I told him that you have accounts set up for your wife as well. So that's
yeah.
another way to get
And also,
extra accounts. But
yeah. Yeah, I have 5 accounts on Top Step. I have 2 Top Steps. I have 15 accounts on Apex, and then I have, I think, 5 or more for her on Apex. And then I'm also starting to use Take Profit Trader, and they allow up to 5 accounts. I just have 1 at this point.
yep.
So I don't know how many accounts I have total right now, but something like 35. And some are being traded from TradersPost, and some come from Replicanto.
Yep. Makes sense. What was the last? Oh, Nick was wondering. I think you kind of addressed this already, though. Like, but how do you make sure the bot stays out of those big trend days when you might get a pullback and then it's ready to short? I think that is
Well,
addressed by if it hits take profit first, right? It just cancels the trade.
yeah, that's the one thing that on very volatile days like we saw this past week, on Monday, I was nervous and I just told everybody to pause the bot because we just woke up Monday with just like some incredible, volatility. Really, I think that was when it really picked up, right? Was it a Monday morning or Sunday night?
Yeah, yeah. Sunday
We
night
saw
and Monday morning. Yeah, you just
yeah,
said
yeah, I
pause
had
it, and
really
you didn't even have to
yeah,
tell
I
me to
thought
pause it. I paused it immediately. I was like, there ain't no way.
right.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it didn't take any trades at all, so it was not necessary to pause it, and at first, I didn't really realize why, I didn't really look into it. So then Tuesday came and I thought, "Well, I'm not gonna leave this thing off forever, it doesn't seem that bad, it didn't take any trades on Monday, let's see if it can handle itself." So I turned it on Tuesday, and I don't remember what happened Tuesday, we did have 1 loss in the entire week, maybe that was on Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a
Yep.
we had a win, 235, and we had a 360 loss, right? So, I was like, okay, and that's when I figured out why it was staying out of the trades because of that setting that I have here, which I had just started using. And that also allowed us to catch a bug because it was what was happening with this setting here, flatten all at TP is hit, and TP being 25 in this case. So if price were to create a fair value gap and then just run away 25 points, well, it's probably done its job already. If it comes back, unless it's a super bearish day, you might not get a reaction off this. At least it's not going to be as high a probability setup anymore. And that's what tested out to be true. That's the reason I used it. Again, I'm not just guessing at these settings. These are based off of results. I mean, I do quite a bit of a trial and error back testing. So when this was checked, that was keeping us out of trades all week. That's why we had, for that week was here, this area here. So very few trades. I mean, Monday was off, but it didn't have any trades anyway. Tuesday we had the one win, one loss. Wednesday and Thursday, it didn't try to do anything, didn't take any trades, or if it did, they were canceled because of that setting. And then Friday things got really good. Friday we had these two nice solid trades. So it does handle itself because of this setting. Now with this setting off, we might have gotten different results. I don't know. Well, I can test it. I can just turn it off here and just see. It was 5,780. See what it would have been. Oh, it would have been more, 75%. So it could have been okay. It could have been okay with it on 75% accuracy compared to, but I don't make changes like this. I don't make changes like this based on a small amount of data. See, it's the same amount of accuracy and it did make more. So in this case, those trades that were canceled probably were successful trades, you know, but I found that over a longer period of time, back testing for past like 2 months or whatever, that this setting saved you more than it hurt you, having this on.
Yeah.
So that's why I use that. But these types of things too, if you've got the desire, these are types of things that are good to forward test because again, the past doesn't predict the future. These things have to be tested. So you could run an alert with this on, and then you could take the exact same settings and make another alert with this off. And then you can see in real world testing which one does better, and also gives you some diversity. So if you've got multiple funded accounts and you don't want to run the same exact strategy on every one, you can run a slightly different one that on each one. It's not making any dangerous change or anything like that, but just a setting change like that. And you can see, just from this recent data, this is not deep back testing, but just from this recent data, that it improved the settings by disabling that, and that's going back trades to July 22nd. Not a lot of data, 3 weeks. I would not stop at that. I would test that out with deep back testing too to see what was better. And the
Um,
other thing I do is usually every weekend, not so much lately because these settings have been pretty solid. But if I suspect anything at all, if I see it not performing as well, maybe taking 2 losses in a row, maybe 3 losses in a row, I will look at my tuning again based off of the recent, adding in the recent data and see if I can tweak this a little more. And if I do that, I'll usually publish, next version settings and tell people what I changed and stuff. It's not always a guarantee that it's going to improve it, but it's the best we can do.
Yep. The next one was if you have multiple TradeView accounts, can the bot trade on one and yourself on the other one without any interference? Which is, I told him it's an obvious. That's a yes answer. He's so
Sure,
one's
sure.
not connected. You can also trade on the one that's connected, but if the bot is going to take a trade, it's going to close that trade, right? If you're in a manual trade, is that what I think you explained that to me?
I have to confirm with that. I've asked David about that before, and either he's answered me and I forgot the answer because I never really come into this situation, so it never
Yeah, because you
affected
just
me.
don't
But
touch them, but
yeah, I believe it should handle it. Like if you're in a manual trade, and it goes to enter a new trade, I think that it would not enter the new trade. I think it would reject it. Now, there is one situation you can be caught off guard. For example, let's say the bot is trading, right? And it just made a trade, it just closed the trade in profit or loss, whatever. And you decide you want to take a trade right after that. So it looks fine, right? You think, well, the bot's not going to take a trade right away. I'm okay. Well, there's this one setting here. See, flatten all if bars pass 60. Well, at 60 bars, which in these settings would be 60 minutes, right? Whatever trade is open on the account will be closed. So if you're in a manual trade, and you're currently in drawdown and 60 minutes have passed since that bot trade had closed or had opened, I'm sorry, that bot trade had opened, it's going to close it because this setting is really for a trade that is just lingering on, you know. And again, we tested this value. Any trades that were open and it's been more than an hour, they were more likely to fail than to not fail. So we filtered them out this way. And you can filter out more by lowering this value. Like if I lower this to 50, you're going to see this value of 5,700. You see if this gets better or worse. And I'm not doing deep just because it takes a little longer.
yeah, yeah,
This way you can leave the indicator open and flip around. That's my first step usually in training. So 5,700 didn't really change that much, so there were really no trades between 50 and 60. But if you pop this down to like 20, now you're really only considering trades that really play out fast. If they don't play out fast, you kill them. What's still 5,700? Still good. So all these trades are playing out. At least in this data set, all these trades are playing out fast.
gotcha.
But if you do a larger like 2 month back test, you'll find that it starts to help. See here that it went up 6,075, right?
Yep.
It was less than that before. So, but again, I don't change settings. I don't do this thinking, oh wow, I got great settings. I'm going to start using five. I don't do that because it's not enough data, and it's overfitting because you're making settings that are fitting a small amount of data. And it's very easy to look back at your last 2 weeks and say, well, if I traded like so and like this, I would have made $1 million. You can't overfit the data because in the future that those settings may suck.
Yep.
So it's a kind of a tricky art to get good settings. And you really never will know if you got the best settings because the only way to know if you got the best settings is to do every iteration you could imagine, which for this strat would be enormous. I mean, you have a million possibilities and actually put them on a million accounts. And then in 6 months, you'll know which settings were better. That's the only way you
Yep.
really could do it. And that's not very feasible. But I do a little bit of that because some things, you have to. This trailing offset, you can only get approximation. If you see the value here is 5,700, if I were to lower this to one, I guarantee it's going to go up. And there's a good reason why. 6,440 will continue to go up and it will continue to go down as you raise the number.
Yep.
And that's just because back testing, they only know one thing about a candle, the open, close, high and low. They don't know how the data was moving in that candle. So if you have a tight trail, then with back testing, it's going to work really good because the price is just going to go up like that. And it's going to follow it perfectly by 2 points. And it's never going to get back down on until the next candle prints, you know? So you always get better results. So you have to forward test that. And 3 is the value that I found to be most effective in forward testing. It gets the best results because you have too much of an offset and then you're giving away profits. it may go, if you have like a 10 here, for example, it's going to go up 10 points and you're going to allow it to come back on you 10 points before you get stopped out. So you're going to be giving away a lot of profits in this type of strategy because most of what we're getting is like 10 points here, 15 points, 20 points maximum. I'm not even sure if it's ever gotten 20 points.
Yeah.
So it's more of a scalping 2022 model, right? And we're going to be adding to these things too. Like the next thing I think that will be added to this is going to be multiple contracts. So we'll have two uh, take profits. We'll have a fixed take profit. So you can set that, for example, to like 5 points, get your 5 points. Basically, you cover your stop loss or some of your stop loss. And then the other one you trail. So if you use two contracts, we will work like that. And these will be free updates.
Yep. Cool. Cool. Cool.
So we're constantly improving it, and also we're working on other strategies too. So it may come to a point that we release something that just steps all over this strategy and makes much better profit, much less drawdown, you know, because 2022 model is, it's not a model everybody likes. We were able to make it better and make it profitable, but it's honestly myself, I don't trade that model. Um, but it was a mechanical model that we were able to, make a bot out of, and it's become pretty successful.
Yep.
$200 a day. If you want to make $2,000 every 10 days from Apex, this will do it.
Yep.
It may not do it in the very first 10 days, but it'll do it. It gets 200 average per day or more is what it's been getting. And that's all you're allowed to get out of Apex, at least until 90 days passes. So, and if you want more than 2,000 every 10 days, just get two accounts. Just trade them on both. Same thing.
Yeah. I don't
So
know if there's any more questions or not. I posted the I posted the website. I posted the Discord in the chat here. So
mhm.
uh,
Yeah, and if there's any questions that anybody has after the live stream, you can just I mean, once you get on the Discord, once you get into the trial, the 7-day trial, you'll get access to the Discord, and you can ask me or even David. David's mostly doing the coding, so he comes on sometimes, but he has three different jobs, so he's quite busy
Jesus.
and has a kid also. One of the third job he's getting ready to quit,
Yep.
and so he'll have some more time, but they made him stay on like an extra month, so he's got like three jobs getting it done at the same time.
Yep.
But he'll be showing up more and more as time goes by.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, I mean it's worth
No other,
giving it a shot if you guys don't like it after 7 days. It's just something that I've seen work
yeah, actually, it's
in the
10 days.
last 2 to 3 weeks. Oh, it's 10 days now. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I changed it to 10 just for this. Yeah, I'll leave it at 10. 7 days, I know maybe is a little too much,
Yeah.
too quick to determine. But this will give everybody, if they start today, for example, they will get all week, or better if they start tomorrow.
Yeah,
That
let's
way
start
it's
on
Sunday
Monday.
night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So give them 10 solid days to be able to test it out. But if they get it now, they'll at least be able to get it set up by Monday, because if
Yep.
you get it Monday, you're going to stumble trying to set it up. I mean,
Yep.
I know that people are going to be on Discord that didn't read the PDF,
Yep.
completely, and you forget to do one thing. And, we had that during our first week when we had limited
Yeah.
release of it. So
Yep.
I know what it's going to be with
Yeah.
some hundreds will be a
Yeah,
little
so
slow.
yeah, they have instructions and everything, a PDF and stuff. So if you do decide to just give it
Yeah,
a shot, there's a PDF. It's really easy to walk through to set up. If not, ask me, ask Steve,
yeah,
ask Wizard.
yeah, yeah.
We'll help you guys give it a
Yeah,
shot. But yeah, it's something that I've seen
sure.
work in the last 2 to 3 weeks. So it's just something I
Oh,
wanted to show you guys and show the Discord here. Just as something that could potentially be like a nice side profit thing for a lot of people. So uh,
yeah, or something to pass your accounts if you
yeah.
don't like doing that. I mean, who
Mm-hmm.
who likes doing evals? I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah. Oh, I hate them. It's the worst.
Yeah, I hate
I
them.
blow evals because I hate doing them, and I just full send them. So
Yeah,
yeah,
me too, man. I want to pass them in one trade. Like
yep,
I'll many
yep,
times I'll get 3K in one trade. It's
yep.
not that difficult if you have some patience. But
Exactly.
I can't trade that thing for 5, 10 days. Now, if a bot does it, my bot's trading them now, no problem. That
Yep.
that allowed me to stop doing that, because once the bot's doing like 200 a day, or if sometimes I'll use two minis on it and do like 400 a day.
Mm-hmm.
That's fast enough for me. I'll stick those in the background and I forget about them. And what I do now in TradeOvate, I don't know if you noticed in TradeOvate, they have the option now where you can have daily profit targets,
Yeah. Yep. And they shut you
daily
down.
cost target, weekly profit. Yeah, so I shut that down. I set that at 3,010 or 3,050,
Yep.
and I don't have to worry about it
That's
when the
that's a
trade
good
gets
point.
into that. It shuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because otherwise, like with Top Step, you get over 1,500 and you don't notice it, and you get to like 2,000 or
Yeah.
worse, more. I've
Yeah.
got 10,000 sometimes. I wasn't paying attention, and now if I don't catch it, I either got to lose that money the
Yep.
same day, or the next day I got to make some impossible amount that I'll never be
Uh-huh.
able to do again.
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
So this way, I just set it and forget about it. Put it at 1550 and
It's done.
done. You
Yep.
know,
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Cool.
every day you got to set it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. Okay. Well,
appreciate you,
I
Steve.
think
Yeah.
I guess we don't have any more questions. And if you do, just sign up and then catch me on Discord. I'll be there all weekend. I'm there every
Yep.
day.
Yep. All right. You guys got the Discord link. You have the website here in the chat. So yeah, if you guys want to give it a shot, we'll see you guys. Appreciate you guys hanging
Yeah.
out, stopping by. Steve, thanks again.
Yeah. Sure. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Yep. Peace.
Peace.